Welcome to the Dude Facts Podcast. Four guys united by their love for coffee and corny jokes come together to talk about Christian culture and the ups and downs of ministry. So sit back, relax, grab a cup of joe, and enjoy. The podcast starts now.
Affirmative.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Dude Facts Podcast. My name is Josh, and I'm here with my friends Jeff, Grant, and Ryan. We're so glad that you decided to return for a second helping of the wonderful deliciousness that is the Dude Facts. These people didn't listen to the first episode.
That's right. So don't listen to the first. Stick with this.
Yeah, just start here. Believe us. So our YouTube, listen, we have like 70 views up to this point. As we're
viral.
I know. But yeah. But here's the thing. It tells you how long like people listen for, and like the average listens like 11 minutes.
Oh man.
So,
Again, why?
so hang with us. Hang with us. We promise it only gets better after
Those 30-second listens from me going back and checking comments and stuff.
Yeah, that could have just been us refreshing it 100 times to get our views up. So how's everybody doing today? You guys doing all right? Grant, I see you're hanging out in your garage.
I am, and I'm currently next to a motorcycle with a slight gas leak. So I'm getting really happy with this recording.
Ooh, perfect.
The motorcycle's not on, right? So see you getting sleepy, I'll say something.
Maybe.
Just make sure not to light up.
You mean?
You're stogie. I know you're in the Northwest, but
It's true. The Northwest. The Pacific
That's right.
Northwest. Or the Northwest.
Yeah, we talked about that last week, and I don't know if anybody agreed with that.
They hate us because they ain't us.
In fairness, I think our viewer
Did
base
you
might
say
be
anus?
biased.
Or did you say ain't us?
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna make sure. It's a family show.
I'm bilingual.
Let's keep it clean, fellas.
Right.
I clean my anus.
This is starting off perfect.
Look, I can hear the clicks of like people closing out of YouTube right now.
Yep. People are not going to make it 11 minutes this week.
Trying to get the average view minutes down.
Right now we're at 3 minutes and 10 seconds, so we'll have to compare that.
Sorry, guys.
That's all right. Oh, man. So this is why we're kind of surprised you're back for a second episode. Stuff like this. Anything else going on?
I just noticed
Anybody
that
got any news?
last week, Grant, Ryan, and myself were all wearing a hat, and you weren't, Josh, and now it's the reverse. So what is going on?
I thought they would all wear a hat, and now none of you guys are in a
Yeah.
hat. I could take it off and see if I got hat head.
Sure. Oh, man. Put it back on.
Next week we're all gonna shave our heads.
Yeah, hat's going back on.
I mean, it's like the phenomena when you're like a kid in elementary school and you're like trying to be with like all the other kids and you do something a day late and they're like, "What are you doing? You're a loser."
That was so last week.
Yeah.
I was always
When all of our eyelashes are shaved off and Josh still has his.
I was always about a year and a half late behind on all the style. It's probably because it was all hand-me-down from my brother. So he was in style, and then when he outgrew it, it came to me. So
I just never had style.
I never understood it.
I was into ska music, and so that was like, never in style.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Is ska going to come back?
Ska's been here, okay?
I mean, everything comes back. Is ska going to come back?
Jen,
only
are you
hope.
familiar with what they call the dancing that you do during ska?
No.
Ryan, enlighten him.
It's skanking, right?
Not called
That's what they call it.
stalking?
It's no.
It's
Skanking.
It's literally called skanking,
Yeah.
and it is the nerdiest dance you've ever seen.
Of all the words in the English language, and that's what they went with.
Can you demonstrate?
Well, who
for
knows?
us?
Maybe it predates the offensive version of that term.
I'm pretty sure that like my
They're
regular
trying to take it
dancing,
back.
even though I don't know what skanking looks like, probably is skanking. Just because I'm such a bad dancer.
No, it's essentially if you just think of like the most nerdy dance you
Yeah.
can think of, it's pretty much it.
That's
so
how I
you know,
dance.
probably spot on.
I agree, though. I think we might need a demonstration there.
Yeah.
Can I give you?
I don't know if I know how to do it. I'll take down the second floor of my apartment here.
That would be great podcast material. We'll put that in the
Great
teaser.
podcast material. Not great for my renter's insurance. It's
No.
What if I drop you a beat here and you just?
Do you have some ska? Some Mighty Mighty Boss Stones?
No.
5 Iron Frenzy?
No. There we go. I just have this. Come on, Ryan. All right, we should stop right now.
go with that one.
Thank goodness that clip was only 10 seconds long.
Okay, Josh, I was doing some math. So if you're usually, a year and a half behind on trends,
Yeah.
there's this thing called COVID. You need to be aware of it.
I think I had it like 10 years ago.
Oh, okay.
He was early
I'm
on
sure I
that.
had it in 2006. It was
Oh man. So I have a story to tell. So my wife works for DoorDash. She does grocery and food delivery. And she goes out, a few days during the week, and she always comes back. I've got an echo from somebody. I don't know who it is. All right, it's gone now. Sorry. So she always comes back with a story. And last night she came home and she said, so I got this order for 4 pints of ice cream and like 3 bottles of liquor. So she had to go to like Dollar Tree, and then right next to Dollar Tree, there's the Shelbyville liquor store. So she had to pick this up, and she went and delivered it. And of course, as she's telling the story, I was like, so there's probably like somebody probably got dumped or whatever. And, they're trying to deal with it. She said, no, it's funny. When she got there, it was the lady that answered the door. She's like, wow, what are you guys doing tonight? And the lady said, I'm still getting an echo. I don't know.
The anticipation's killing me. What's
I
the
know.
liquor?
She said, so I'm sorry. I don't want the people to hear that echo. But she, the lady said, no, we're having a granny sleepover, and we're just decided we're gonna eat ice cream, Oreos, and drink a bunch of liquor. And Britta's like, oh, okay, well, have fun. And so she leaves, and a few minutes later, she gets another order, and it's for the same ladies, but it's for a diabetes blood sugar test, at-home test.
DoorDash delivered?
Yeah, they'll deliver that. And I thought, that's probably something they should have figured out before they ordered the ice
bunch of
cream
ice cream.
and the Oreos and the liquor. So one of them's like, wait a minute, I have diabetes. I better check my blood sugar
How
level.
old were these ladies?
Well, that's kind of the sad thing. The lady that answered the door, she said, was like 42.
Oh,
And was, she's a grandmother, which, I mean, is not so far off. Not so far off, but it was a young lady. But she said the other ladies in there were definitely grandmotherly age.
oh.
But that's Shelbyville, y'all. So where I
They're
live.
enjoying
What
their
is grandmotherly
their old
age? Like, see,
Like 90.
yeah, like when I think about it, I think of like 70 and above,
Yeah.
I feel like it's like a sliding scale. The older I get, the older grandmotherly age.
Yeah.
is.
Mhm. But the less old it seems. Does that make like the older you get, the less old
Oh,
people
yeah.
seem?
I, th-
Because
I
you're
think the
closer
last
to
time
it.
I played laser tag with my kids, somebody called me Grandpa, but it's because I was dominating all these like little kids. It was awesome. Like, thanks a lot, Grandpa. That's right.
I'd rather be called Grandpa than Boomer. And I'm not a Boomer, but I think getting called Grandpa is like, that's a compliment.
Yeah. I want to sit on your
Like, I
grandpa's
got a lot of wisdom.
knee and whittle.
That's right.
Whittle.
A little too far, cross the line.
I was like, who is that?
That's Michael Scott joining us. There goes some more subscribers right there.
Yes.
Just see the
We're 11 minutes
views
in.
steadily go down.
That's right.
Hang on, it's going to get better,
Grant.
people.
Yeah, it does. Well, I'll tell you what. Speaking of the people, we want to hear from you guys. So right now, if you're still with us and you don't feel like this burden of conviction from the Holy Spirit, go ahead and like us and subscribe. And we love for you to share your thoughts and comments in the comment section there on YouTube. Just so you know, I'm not sure where you're listening or watching. We're on YouTube, we're on Spotify, we're on Apple Podcast. If you're listening, we definitely want to encourage you to roll over to YouTube at some point. Leave us some comments there. And we did get a few comments, actually, from our listeners last time, which made us feel good, got us through the day. And so we thought we would just share some of those with you.
Yeah.
Ryan, you got
Yeah,
those.
we had a couple of items that struck a chord on last week's episode. First being Pokemon. That was a hot topic in the comment section on Facebook.
Well, that's to be expected.
Maybe the only topic in the comment section on Facebook.
We got a bunch of nerds listening
Did you
to us.
get
Is that
any
what
more
it is?
Pokemon
Hey,
tattoos
we'll
this
find
week?
No, I'm making plans for more though. I plan on getting my entire body in just Pokemon.
I like it.
I'm gonna get all I don't know, was there like 3,000 Pokemon by now? I don't know. They add more every year and I can't keep up. I'm too old. Yeah, so we had Wesley on Facebook was basically dogging Josh for making fun of grown men playing Pokemon.
Wow.
So that was good.
Now, who does this Wesley character?
Wesley.
I
I mean, he sounds like a guy that
Right.
would go to Chuck E. Cheese for his bachelor party, quite honestly.
cheese for my bachelor party this month.
Maybe we should have him on to talk about that, by the way.
Can you
I
rent
think-
out the Chuck E. Cheese? It's like I don't want to go there if there's a bunch of kids. Yes. So Pokemon, Pokemon Go is a hot game still. It's been out for I don't know 5-6 years by this point, but there's still a lot of people playing it. And at least to play Pokemon Go, you're out walking around having fun. And like Wesley said, playing with his kids and using that as a bonding experience. So an example of a good use of Pokemon, not the people afraid that Pokemon are going to send their kids to hell.
Yeah. So I like that. I like what he said, that he plays it with his kids. I think that's appropriate. And
Oh, isn't he playing with his phone next to his kids?
that's true. And am I the only person that can't see Jeff anymore?
I can see Jeff.
I can see Jeff.
And oh, I can't see Jeff.
I'm
Okay,
here.
Jeff. Well, 3. You just have. Okay. Well, it's recording your video. That's good. I just don't see you anymore. I miss you,
Yeah,
Jeff.
I'm here.
Technical difficulties, the podcast.
I miss your face.
Yeah.
You want me
Okay.
to describe it to you?
Please.
All right. He has a mole on his.
Oh, he's back.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, no need to describe. We're good.
That's enough. All right. So Wes plays Pokemon Go with his kids.
Yeah, great. And then so our other hot topic of discussion from last week seemed to be the Popeyes Chick-fil-A debate. Mark had some things to say about that. Mark said, "I love the episode. Can't wait for more, but let's ease up on the crazy takes." Popeyes does not even come close to Chick-fil-A, and it has nothing to do with being the Lord's chicken. It's just not as good, with the exception of their breakfast. I'm not sure if that's saying that Chick-fil-A does not have a great breakfast or Popeyes has a breakfast. I've never eaten breakfast at Popeyes, if there's a breakfast there. But
I think if you ate breakfast at Popeyes, it would be like the old Jim Gaffigan joke. It's like diarrhea.
Yeah. It's because what your eyes
Like,
do.
good
after you eat.
morning. Let's start off with some diarrhea.
You're about to call in sick.
sounds about right. It's about the same, about on par with eating a Waffle House, I assume. Can't be
We
that.
don't have those out here. I'm excited about Waffle Houses. But here's a question for you three. When you go to Chick-fil-A, because of their values and the Christian chicken, do you pray for your food?
Pre-blessed.
Pre-blessed chicken.
Double pre-blessed.
Pre-blessed.
Talk about sponsors. That's who we need to get sponsors.
Yeah.
It's pre-blessed food.
That's right.
Not Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A, no.
Most of the time,
I mean, I'd take their money.
I'm so blown away at how they are like 40 cars deep in the drive-through line, and they still get me through in like 5 minutes that I forget to pray for my food. I'm like, how did they do that? And I've already down like 5 waffle fries.
I mean, and you've just experienced a miracle.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, we talked about Dutch Brothers last week. I think it's miraculous that they can crank the music as loud as they do, call me bro as many times as they do when I use a drive-through, and somehow remember the order and get it right. I'm blown away.
it's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah. Chick-fil-A, I get it. Like, they're tight shirts and pants, and they just seem so structured. Like,
It's all the
if they-
homeschoolers.
if they step out of line, which, by the way, out here in the West, I've noticed they don't say my pleasure very often.
Oh.
Although I'm okay with that, I don't like the thought of people getting pleasure from serving me. It's just a little, that throws me off, Christians, serving the chicken.
My pleasure to
Oh,
give you
it's
this
my
chicken.
Tell you what, it used to
And
make
this
me really
pickle.
uncomfortable
Hey, man.
when I was younger.
Yeah.
When
It's a little too much information.
when Chick-fil-A
Throw it
workers
to me
would
next
say "my pleasure" when I was younger, it used to make me really uncomfortable because I was like, people don't really talk that way. That sounds really, really awkward. But then, like, the more I've worked in customer service and talking to people over the years, the more I say "my pleasure" when they tell me thank you. So I don't know if it's maybe just me getting older or what, but
You're a Chick-fil-A
it's
worker at
definitely
heart.
become a common vernacular. Yeah, those 6 months I worked at Chick-fil-A, they really stuck with me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you work at Chick-fil-A?
Yeah, I worked at the mall one at Governor Square
Why don't I remember that? That's awesome.
before it
that-
unceremoniously closed.
That was the ghetto Chick-fil-A.
Yes, no, I would agree with that. Having worked
Yeah.
there, I will say on our comments though. Speaking of Chick-fil-A and Popeyes, Tad did say he liked Popeyes better, even though their service is terrible.
Controversial.
So
That's true. That's true.
Their service is worse because they know what they have.
Yeah.
They don't have to
That's
cover
right.
it up with pleasing you.
That's sweet.
Specifically in that town in Tennessee, I think any town Popeyes service is terrible. It's not just that.
You're not getting a my pleasure from Popeyes.
No,
No.
you're getting to get out of
Food is
here
the
before I dent your car.
They're like, get out of here.
Like, you're still here?
Okay, let me prove the point in another way. I want all of us to say my pleasure without smiling, and tell me it's not going to be the creepiest thing ever.
My pleasure.
I like adding a voice onto it. It's just
Suddenly want to disappear
air it up
again.
another notch.
My pleasure.
My pleasure. Say it like you're
It's wrong.
you gotta say it with a voice like you're doing like a movie trailer for like an 80s action movie. My pleasure.
My pleasure.
It was his pleasure to serve the pickle on the chicken.
And a kid runs away. I just wanted a sandwich.
I will say this about
So I will
Chick-fil-A.
say-
Their nuggets,
Oh, go ahead.
when you open that little box, you're excited to get these like juicy nuggets. They're like little tiny turds. I mean, what is that? So don't go to Chick-fil-A and get the nuggets. They might taste good, but you're only going to get like a fourth of a piece of chicken between those
So
things.
get the strips, okay? You get a 4-piece strip. It's about the same amount of meat as a 12-piece nugget, but it's
Here's my problem
instead of
with
being a
strips,
little
though.
turd nugget, it's actually like a nice little chicken strip. So
Here's the problem I have with strips, right? Strips can be a noun and a verb.
It's chickens, though, Grant.
That's just a weird my pleasure. Here's your chicken strips. Go Popeyes.
well, they say.
And it's awkward again.
Whitey Bulger would be proud.
Well, I think
That's right.
think the
If he's a
sandwich
subscriber.
sandwich debates aside, I think the important thing that we can all agree on is Chick-fil-A has the better fries compared to Popeyes. I mean, that's the no-brainer, I feel like.
I don't think I've ever had Popeye's fries.
I'm gonna say
I
the
may
same
have,
thing.
but I don't remember it. If I have,
Yeah.
I just don't read.
I like their chicken
And usually
sandwich
what I
at
get when I go
Popeyes,
there is
but
mashed
yeah, their
potatoes.
fries, it don't really stand out to me like Chick-fil-A's.
If you get them with a
You get the
sandwich, they're
Cajun
usually
fries?
soggy and not good.
Cajun fries sound.
They have Cajun fries. Yeah. With blackened ranch.
Well,
That's
if you want
pretty good.
Cajun fries, go to Five Guys. Okay, that's the place to go.
Mm, yeah, I would agree if you're getting a Cajun.
Yeah,
But I think the best fries out there are Penn Station. Those are delicious. Have you guys had Penn Station fries?
once.
No.
And I do
They
remember
are-
them being pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, you watch them, they take the potato and they put it in this machine that makes fries out of them, and then they put it right in the fryer. And so we've got a really great hamburger place here called Wayback, and it's actually in the Walmart. But again,
Wayback
that's how
in Walmart?
Shelbyville rolls. Yeah, but it's delicious. It's some of the best. It's one of the best burgers I've ever had. So we'll go there to get a burger, and then Penn Station's across the street. We'll go over there and get our
Go
fries.
get some fries.
Can I say something
We'll go to
controversial
two
here?
restaurants to get a burger.
McDonald's French fries suck. I don't understand the craze about McDonald's fries. Am I the only one that thinks this? I think they're
I
overrated.
do like McDonald's fries when they're fresh and hot, but that might just be because they're fresh and hot. They're actually probably pretty gross.
I don't get why people run to McDonald's fries. I would much rather, even though I hate these stupid Burger King commercials that I hear every 5 seconds, I would much rather eat Burger King fries or Arby's fries or any fries but McDonald's. McDonald's is gross.
Yeah.
Mm.
I was a fan until maybe 5 or 6 years ago when our girls were cleaning out the van with their mom,
Where this is going.
and in the back they've got the armrest, and it's got a little cubby, so the armrest folds up, and so they're cleaning them out. And one of the girls like, "Oh, there's French fries back here," and Bridge was like, "I couldn't remember the last time we had bought fries," and they ate them.
When they were babies.
It was still edible. Yeah. No, not necessarily. maybe middle schoolers, late elementary. You eat anything when you're in middle school. But, it had probably been months and months, and they looked the same, and it still I guess it still tasted okay. So that's not food.
No.
I mean, that's something that's been created in a lab.
I think they're roughly the same chemical makeup as packing peanuts, so makes sense they lasted that long.
It could.
And you're not supposed to eat packing peanuts?
With salt.
You want to say hi to my dog?
I was gonna say we have a guest, our first on.
We have a
Yeah.
guest. This is Harley.
Oh,
Oh,
I thought
dude,
you wanted to say hi to Jeff again. What's up, dog?
he thinks
Ooh,
it's.
got you.
He walked away. It's like whatever.
You guys have been in and out, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Thoughts on in and out?
I love the simplicity
burger.
of the menu. There's only 3 items on the menu. It's not like algebra, like when I go to Taco Bell now. I mean, I can't even figure out what I want. But at In-N-Out, it's like, oh, I want a burger and fries. It's right there. That's easy. I like it.
You have 3 things on the menu. I want 2 of them.
Have 2/3 of
Just
your
give me
menu,
the entire menu.
Yeah.
So we just got a Whataburger here, and I think, are y'all getting one, Jeff, Ryan?
Yep.
We're supposed to be. Who knows when that's going to happen?
Yeah.
So it was built right next to a Wendy's, and the hype over it was crazy. People were camping out, and the parking lots were packed and all that. And I'd had Whataburger several years ago in Alabama. We would stop and get lunch, going down to the beach or whatever, and get a milkshake. So I thought, okay, I'll go in there. And I'm a big Wendy's burger fan. I love a Dave's single with cheese on it. But I was not impressed because the patty is about a 1/8 of an inch thick, and it took forever. And I thought, why are we so excited about this?
Well,
It wasn't that good.
As a born and bred Texan, I love Whataburger. And I remember when that one opened, I was telling people that I knew, I was like, it's not that serious. Like, like, I love Whataburger. Don't wait in line for it. If it's after it, chills out, sure, go ahead and try it. But no, and I've had this discussion because I work with a lot of people who are people that moved, to the Nashville area from other places. So, everybody's got different ideas of what they like and stuff. And I think I've nailed down the thing with that is that people who are from Texas and love Whataburger, they love it because of the nostalgia that it brings them. It's not necessarily because it's the, more superior restaurant. Because when I eat Whataburger, if I'm in Florida or if I'm driving through Alabama and I eat Whataburger, it's just not as good. But when I'm in Texas, Whataburger hits the spot. So, I think that's half of it right there.
It's
similar for people that are, from the West Coast and love In-N-Out and stuff like that. And, because I've eaten In-N-Out in Texas and I'm like, it was okay, but whatever. But I don't have that nostalgia for it like people that are, from those areas do. So
I will say the last time I ate Whataburger, it was In-N-Out. Let me tell you.
Most things I eat are In-N-Out, but I think that's just the IBS talk.
Breakfast on a bun at Whataburger. That's where it's at.
I think their spicy ketchup is okay. It's redeemable. I like that quality of it. I was always put off. I went to Texas for a week. I had to make up a class for seminary because my seminary, it doesn't matter. So I went down and did some disaster relief in Houston after the hurricane. And we had a Texan who moved to the Northwest. Oh, we got to go to Whataburger. And my natural response the first time was, what? A burger? Which I thought, and I didn't mean it as a joke, but it's like, what? A burger? Whataburger? Some people sound like they're saying water.
Water.
My wife
That's what I thought
was
was
saying Waterburger. And I was like, no, it's not a water burger. It's what a burger.
I was like, who wants a soggy burger? That sounds terrible. So let us know where you think the best fries are. And maybe we can do like a blind fry taste test with all of the comments that come in. So let us know what you think.
Potato, right? Because sweet potato, different story altogether.
Different story.
We're talking plain.
Plain potato fries.
Potato.
Yeah, so we're not even going like Cajun, right? We're just like a normal salted French fry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, in the comments, write what your favorite is, and then write why it's Wendy's. Thanks, guys.
Wendy's does have good fries.
And they have to be good at room temperature.
Before we, that's right. Before we transition out of here, Ryan, I feel so bad about last week, and not only did I question your manhood when it came to Pokemon, but I fear that I may have put across the wrong idea about you and sixth grade girls. So I wanted just to pause right here and give people a little bit of context about where that came from. So bear with me for just a second here. We just want to make sure that all of our listeners understand kind of what's going on here.
Just have all these feelings just welling up inside me, and it's never happened to me before. I just don't know what to do with them.
Feelings? What are you talking about?
I don't know. It's just ever since I saw a new moon, I waited 3 hours on opening night just to see it. And, I was sitting in there, I was front row by myself, a bunch of 6th grade girls around
There it
me.
is.
And I felt like I knew. So
I can't believe you didn't get an award for this.
Seriously.
For this
I mean,
Brian.
that's authenticity right there. I still have that reaction every time I watch New Moon.
Boy,
I still have that
are you a
reaction.
man?
yeah, man. I'm just not afraid to admit that I like New Moon.
Like, every time,
New
I mean,
Moon.
that
Let me
one
tell you about
time
an
that I
old
watched
moon.
it and never watched it
What
again.
old moon?
Yeah, an old moon, way back in Baptist history. Can't just tell you about her though. I'm gonna have to show you.
I just wanted everybody to know that idea of Ryan going to movies with 6th grade girls, it was a character he was playing.
Right.
Very passionately, by the way.
Yeah.
So-
Yes.
And if that little video whet your appetite, you're not sure where it came from, just Google or go to YouTube and look for the Lottie Moon rap. You'll be
It'll
glad you
probably
did.
be the top search result.
It will. It will.
Yes. If you made it this far in the
that was
podcast.
by far our most popular
Yeah.
product.
That's right.
What's the line? Lottie Dottie's got a tiny body, a 4-foot Baptist missionary hottie.
Oh, yeah.
51
I
Baptist missionary body.
I think about that line in just my daily life regularly.
I got a feeling that's probably the line that
That got us called into
was the line that was crossed.
somebody's
Yeah.
office.
Lottie Dottie's got a tiny body.
And you know,
I love
as I'm
we had
pinning
the
that,
cutout.
I'm thinking this is probably going to happen. I'm going to be called into somebody's office.
Yeah, you pinned
Yeah.
it.
But I was
And we
like, it's
did.
gold.
We're gonna have to do an episode just on that rap because there's so many
Oh, yeah.
stories,
So many
so many good
tidbits.
things. So, all right. So, you guys hear about Tom Brady retiring again?
Again? Yeah.
Yeah, the yearly tradition of him retiring.
Supposedly.
I hope it sticks.
Supposedly, yeah.
Yeah, I do too. And Jeff, you're a diehard Patriots fan.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you?
I mean, I love Tom Brady. I think he's the GOAT. I thought it was awesome to see him go win one with Tampa. But I really think when he retired last year, he should have just stuck with it. And evidence, that there was a lot more going on there. Obviously, reared its ugly head this season. But, like, football-wise, it just looked awful. And so I always laughed this season when you'd hear the rumors like, oh, he's going to go play for the 49ers next year. I'm like, the dude's going to be like 46 years old. Like, I know he's awesome, but come on, man. Like, one day you're just going to have to, like, say, I've had enough. And I'm
Stuck it out
glad,
for a
even
few
though
more
it
years.
feels like this is on repeat.
He could have been a 49er playing for the 49ers. That would have been great.
Maybe that's what he was going for.
I mean, he's got 7 rings, right?
Yeah.
I mean, how many? I don't. I hate that he lost, his wife and all, kind of through all this. There's a lot going on, and maybe hindsight's 20/20. But man, if he had just retired after that Super Bowl win with Tampa, going out on that high note. But it's a tradition, just like Groundhog Day is.
Yeah. And the thought of the fact that Tom Brady retired or announced his retirement on the 1st of February, which he did last year, feels like Groundhog Day, like the movie with Bill
Right.
Murray, where the day is just going over and over. But what's when you think about Groundhog Day, this is the weird thing. I was talking to a friend in the UK the other day, and I'm trying to explain Groundhog Day to them, and they're just like so confused. And it got me thinking like how often we criticize weathermen. We're looking at our phones and we're like, no, there's no way it's going to rain today. Or they're calling for snow. Yeah, right. I mean, we're so critical of that profession. But then as soon as it's Groundhog Day and somebody's raising this Groundhog Day up in the air like Simba and Lion King were all like, what does the groundhog have to predict? Like the groundhog's better than all these people who study meteorology. I don't know.
That's
It is
true.
a very weird tradition, definitely.
That's true. If I was a meteorologist, this would be one of the worst days of the year. I'd definitely question my life choices.
Like all these people believe a groundhog over my years of training and scientific study. Yeah. Well, I was thinking, I was walking around on my lunch break today at work, and I was in downtown Nashville, and I was like, man, it's so cloudy today. I was like, where is this groundhog at? Like, I was like, if it's cloudy like it is here, then of course there's going to be no shadow. But they said he saw his shadow, and I'm like, well, what's the light source? So if you put a spotlight behind him, of course he's going to see a shadow. Like, who knows where the lights are coming from?
It's actually, and I love the name, it's in Gobbler's Knob, Pennsylvania. That's the name of the town.
Oh, yeah.
Like to meet whoever named that.
Punxsutawney Phil.
That's right. Punxsutawney Phil. Yeah. I was actually reading on it a little bit, and the very first one was like 160 something years ago when they did this, like for the very first time.
Groundhog.
But that was cutting edge technology then.
Oh.
The groundhog. So, they were just, it was their iPhone. It was that groundhog.
Everybody's walking around with groundhogs in their pocket.
That's right.
I've only ever seen a groundhog in Tennessee, by the way.
Oh, they don't have them in the Pacific Northwest.
We have marmots out here.
Oh, okay.
I've never seen a groundhog.
Yeah. When I lived on campus at Austin P, there was one that lived by my dorm. I'd see him all the time.
Was he related to Phil?
Probably. He was probably like a distant cousin.
Bill.
Twice removed.
Meteorologist with a southern accent.
Hey, y'all. Saw my darn shadow. Oh, darn it.
But it is a weird tradition, like to think every year we still do this. Just with where culture and everything is, like we stop. There's newscast. Something I was reading today said like 30,000 people will show up in this town of like 5,000 people, and it's this big drunken party, and people still dress up like they did in the 1800s, and they read off a scroll. It's not he sees a shadow. Apparently, the groundhog whispers in the ear of like the MC what's going to happen, and then it's recorded on a scroll, and he unscrolls.
They must be really drunk if they're listening to a groundhog whisper.
But this doesn't surprise me. Apparently, it came from Germany. Like that's where the tradition started, and it was a hedgehog. So when German immigrants came over, they kind of adopted that, but there weren't any hedgehogs up there. So they were like, groundhog.
Well,
That's
hedgehogs
close.
are a lot smaller. Imagine somebody.
That's close enough. Yeah. Yeah, because that thing is like when the guy holds it up, I mean, it looks like a gremlin. It's massive, and these claw. Guy's braver than I am.
And they're really dumb. I don't know why we trust their opinion on weather.
They live in a hole most of their life.
Have you guys ever heard of a weather stone or a weather rock?
Yes.
So
I don't think so.
Because Ryan, you were in Boy Scouts, weren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was in Boy Scouts. So in Hawaii, we used to make all the new Boy Scouts, the tender feet in the troop. We used to make them make an A-frame, like lash together an A-frame, and then find the largest boulder that we could, and we say, okay, now you need to tie that boulder underneath the A-frame. You're gonna make for us a weather rock. And these like skinny, scrawny little dudes would pick up the biggest rock and eventually manage to tie it up there. And they say, okay, how does it work? How does it work? And we say, okay, if the rock swings, it's windy. If the rock is wet, it's raining. If the rock feels hot, it's sunny out. So I feel like that would be a better way to predict. Oh, the groundhog is cold. It's winter. The groundhog is wet. It's raining.
Well, that's like real-time weather updates. That's like
for real.
what you get on a smartphone.
I wonder if Punxsutawney Phil is a Twitter. Maybe he can
bet
tweet
he's-
us updates on the weather. Yeah, we need to look that up.
Does he follow the Bronx Zoo Cobra?
I could only hope. I went to the Bronx Zoo last year, and I did not see the cobra. I was disappointed.
Oh man.
Yeah,
That's
I think
the whole
he was
reason you
hiding.
go.
He saw you.
That's right.
And just so you guys know, he's only correct 40% of the time.
Oh, well, he's like
So,
regular
I mean-
meteorologist then.
Yeah, that's right. And there goes our meteorologist listeners.
There's a Punxsutawney Phil Groundhog Club, but it's called Punxsutawney Phil. Probably that one. But he could, I mean, if he's only 40% accurate, he could come to the Northwest. And between like November and July, he could just say, yeah, rain. It's going to rain today. And he'd be right.
He'd be right.
He's an all-star.
Yeah.
We were driving through Pennsylvania a couple of years ago when I lived in New York, and we saw Punxsutawney, the sign for it. And there was a moment where I leaned over to my wife, Stephanie, and I was like, yeah, we should just veer off and check it out. And she's like, no. Like, why would we drive all the way to the middle of nowhere just to see like where this groundhog comes out of? But I don't know. It's like these weird traditions. I just have to know, like, why do we do them? So I've always been curious about that. Like even ones that we have in the church, I'm curious, like, why do we have these sacred cows? You know, and all of us obviously have worked in the church and grown up in the church, and we know these weird things that we do in the church, these weird traditions, these sacred cows that really need to be cow tipped. We need to do some sacred cow tipping. But for some reason, they've hung on. What kind of sacred cows do you guys, think about whenever we use that term in the church? I know I have like a whole laundry list, but what does that mean to you guys?
Well, when we first thought about talking about this, immediately the phrase that came in my mind was, well, we've always done it that way. Kind of whatever it is, whatever. Like, I think that's the beginning of that sacred cow. When someone says, well, that's how we've always done it. And, the background of that is, this is what I'm comfortable with. This is what I understand. This is what we used to do. And, at a certain point in time, maybe it was exactly what was needed. But then you get to the point where it's not effective anymore, or it's just not right for whatever reason, but it becomes that idol, that we then put in front of us. Like, I would rather have this and it not be effective or be right than be without it, and not know what else to do, or not want to put up with the change. And I think a lot of times it's even things like, the color of carpet, or, responsibilities of deacons, or whatever it might be. Like, we'll get all these things and that aren't even in scripture or whatever. And like, I don't want to change that. I'm more concerned about just keeping it and keeping me in my comfort zone than anything else.
Having dedicated hymnals. That's always one of my favorites.
Dedicated hymnals.
Even when the church has transitioned to like worship music that the lyrics are up on the screen, they still keep the hymnals in the pew anyway. They never get opened. And yet, if you do open it just for fun, there's a little label in there, and it's dedicated to Whitey Bulger or whoever.
Well, without the hymnal,
Loving
how am I going to
memories.
know the words to "O Canada" or the the national anthem?
That's true.
Go to hockey games.
They don't have that on Media Shop.
Just total side note, but "Oh Canada" crushes our national anthem. Theirs is about their country. Ours is about a flag. Side
Hey,
note.
listen, we're going to lose all the Black Rifle listeners.
That's right.
So
Oh no.
careful.
That's right. There's soldiers all around me right now.
Yeah, we have an army chaplain in our midst. Grant, how can you be so careless?
Because our song is about a flag, not our country. And the last line is actually a question. The last line of the first verse, right? Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave? Or the... And it should be, and the home of the brave? Because there is a question mark.
So the best,
that's true.
That's my problem.
my best experience with the national anthem was in seminary. I did what's called the Oxford tour, and we spent part of the summer in Oxford studying there, and it was really, really cool. But we would all eat together, all these seminary students, and so for some of our meals, we would have obviously locals that lived there in Oxford, as our servers and the people that made the food. Well, they made us hamburgers and French fries for the 4th of July, which was really cool. And we had this one guy who had, remember those old Navy shirts that had the American flag on them? So this one guy had one of those shirts on, and we all told him to stand up, and we started singing the national anthem. And we got all the way through it, and one of the seminary professors leans over to me, and he was like, yeah, it was their bombs bursting in air, pointing to like the wait staff.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Like I went to I was at the U.S. England match of the World Cup, and we actually tied, and it was just insane. Most of the Qataris who were there at the game were rooting for England, not the U.S. It was like a section of us, and our chants were amazing. Like, we drive on the right side, pour the tea in the water. It was great. It was so great.
Well, we've lost all our British listeners.
That's right.
Sorry.
Good. You lost.
Goodbye, Governor.
Enjoy taxes, because we don't pay those.
That's right.
Oh,
What a
man.
long way we've come.
Yeah.
My paycheck.
Yeah.
From sacred cows to insulting the British, man.
So
Yeah,
back to
traditions are
sacred
weird.
cows. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so
I don't
funny.
know. It's like,
It was funny. We were talking about hats earlier. I remember in the church that Ryan grew up in, the first church that I worked in, there was such an aversion to anybody wearing hats in the church. And I remember we had a kid who was visiting one time, walking into our youth room wearing his baseball hat. And one of my volunteer youth workers just gets right in his face and starts telling him to take off his hat. And the kid refused. And the guy just kept going on and on and on, to the point where I finally had to go to the adult leader and say, hey, please stop. He's a visitor. Like, the kid's probably never going to come back now because you just totally insulted him. But it's things like that. I'm like, why are we holding on to these things? And where did that come from?
Well, and that comes from the idea that that building itself is holy. Don't run in the church, or you shouldn't say that in church, or you shouldn't wear a hat in church. And like, it's brick and mortar. Like we place I think we put a little too much value on that, and that's why this is a whole other tangent and topic, but that we don't necessarily view the church as people.
Exactly.
So we're doing all these things to protect this structure. And I think a lot of traditions within the church come from that. But it's funny. I actually asked my wife this, what she thought, and she kind of threw me for a loop, because she views a lot of the things that some of the newer churches are saying and doing about being away from tradition as a new tradition.
Oh yeah.
Like, and like saying, we don't do these things, and that's kind of what they're hanging their hat on. We don't sing the hymns, or we don't have this structure in place, or whatever it is, and that becomes like a source of pride for them, for those churches, and then that kind of becomes a sacred cow or an idol,
Sacred baby cows.
Yeah, they're not being traditional is a sacred cow.
Oh yeah.
I thought that was a good take.
Music's a big one. I mean, it's so funny how divided we are on music, and how it continues to evolve even further, to where now the music that I know I enjoy is even on the outside as far as church trends go, but yeah, very much a sacred cow, and something that was originally done as a response to a sacred cow has now become the sacred cow, and the next generation going to be doing the same thing with whatever music.
I think back to the church I grew up in Texas. Like, we would do youth-led worship Sundays and stuff like that every now and then, and it was a big pain point for a lot of the older people in the church because it wasn't their typical, piano and organ and church choir singing Sunday, and that was a big hang up for a lot of them. And I think that the kind of the frustrations that came of a lot of that stuff, and I'm sure this happened in a lot of other churches, was detrimental to some things. Some of the work that the church could have been doing, they were more focused on these traditions that they held rather than, the work that they could be doing, for the kingdom. It's and just the way we hold church service as a whole is a part of that. People get so hung up on, we have to have this Sunday service, we have to have people singing songs, and we have to have the pastor preaching, and that format is in and of itself a sacred cow that we hold as Christians. And
the order of service, I would chime out like that. Yep.
Yeah,
it's going to be printed out.
Throw a fit if you do something that is against what the typical order of things is.
Yeah. I was at a church once where they were talking about getting rid of the bulletin. And there was like, well, how are people going to know what we're going to do? I'm like, well, we'll tell them as we go through it.
No!
Like they're still there. Like they don't have to know all that. And
But
everyone
everyone else
it's one of those sacred cows.
and standing, but they haven't told me to sing and stand.
They just want the bulletin so they can see. They're trying to look at it. They're like, okay, I got to get here, and then I can go watch the football
We're
game.
almost done. That's right. It's a
I
countdown.
can go to
I
Whataburger.
got to get to Chili's in like 30 minutes. Let's wrap this up.
And the thing
The
about
Methodist out
thing
there.
about sacred cows too is, we joke about some of these things, and none of these things are inherently bad things. I mean, it's great. There's a lot of great hymns, and hymn books definitely have a place and had a place. And, even the decor of the church and, the way we do church, I think all of it started with the right goal in mind to honor God and to revere Him and to worship Him. But it's like we've become so engulfed with those things rather than who we're worshiping, to the point of where we think, okay, now this is the only way I can worship God, is if it fits this particular set of parameters. And if it's different, then okay, all of a sudden I can't worship God, which I think we're all going to be in shock when we're gone from this earth, and eternity looks very different from what we did in our churches.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think it all comes down to the amount of reverence that we put on these, really trivial things that, in the end, they don't really matter. And, when we put that much importance on those things, we end up holding ourselves back.
Except for the executive building committee. That's important.
Yeah.
Or the committee on committees.
The committee on committee. I love that one. The committee on committees. The nominating committee, which you have to kind of nominate people to be on the nominating committee so that they can nominate other people to be on committees.
On the committee of committees.
That's crazy. That's right. But the root of all this, though, is, there's these sacred cows in the church because we've made ourselves like a sacred cow, if you will, because it's all about personal preference and personal desire. And when we get to arguing about these secondary or preferential things within the church, these things that don't really matter for eternity, all we're doing is saying, I've kind of put myself above other people. Like I haven't submitted to the needs of others. And clearly I haven't prepared myself to worship Jehovah because I've been worshiping myself in all these other ways. So then it bleeds into the church, that we think everything exists for what I think is best or what I think is right. Instead of just coming, and it's what Ryan hit, instead of just coming in with like this reverence of the one we're there to worship. And I think that's a good litmus test. I mean, if you want to know if your heart's right before the Lord, or if your heart's right in worship, as you're going through a worship service, what are you thinking about? Well, I wish we wouldn't sing this song, or I kind of wish they would change this, or I wish this was different or that was different. Listen, I mean, go spend some time in China with the underground church and people who are having to meet in secret, and pastors who are daily being carried off to prison because of where they're meeting. No hymns, no music. It's quiet at night, lights off, maybe no air conditioning, dirt, whatever. And then start talking about those sacred cows. I think especially in Western culture in America, like it's just kind of an epidemic within the American church that it's become so much about what I want. We've kind of trained people to be self-worshipers, and then now that's coming in to our worship service. And so we shouldn't really be surprised, that we see that.
Yeah, we have that's not true. We have a Vietnamese church that rents from the previous church where I served. But at our current church, we have a Hispanic service that rents from us and a Ukrainian service. And they're still sponsoring family to get out of Ukraine currently, a lot of the members of this congregation. And the pastor's brother is still pastoring in Ukraine. And they're like, shut the lights off so they don't see us and they don't bomb us, but let's keep singing to Jesus right now.
Wow.
And my philosophy of worship is sacrifice. And so for me to get everything that I want, just like you said, Josh, I'm worshiping myself, but it costs me something financially when Eric and I worship, when our income is deposited and we worship the Lord with our money, that costs us something. Especially as our kids get older, money feels more expensive. When I sing a song, especially one that I don't like, well, I'm worshiping through my discomfort. So I'm not worshiping me. So my sacrifice of worship then is, okay, I'm going to sing this song that affirms something about God. When I talk to that guy I don't like or whoever, right? Like, no, I'm sacrificing my time and sometimes my sanity to say hi to someone. And yeah, it's what are we sacrificing to the Lord that day, every day, right? That's our worship.
I do have a question though. You're the pastor of this church, right?
Yeah, I was talking about myself.
And you don't pick the songs for your worship leader?
No, so we actually have a meeting. We have a staff meeting weekly, and we talk about how was the previous Sunday, what's coming up this next Sunday, what are some big things, like right now we're talking about Easter, we're talking about...
Someone's rocking out.
Yeah.
That's me. My own music.
I just figured with that level of power you have in the church, you can be like, listen, worship leader guy, we're not singing that song anymore because I don't like it. It's theologically sound, but I don't like it.
Yeah, there's been two songs that we've nixed because the church I pastor is a merger of an existing church plant and an older congregation. And there's been a couple songs we said, well, these are just factually incorrect. And they might even affirm, like one interesting conversation, this is a long conversation, but when people say hymns, like, oh, we like to sing hymns. I love, my favorite two worship songs are Reformation era hymns. But when most people say, I want to sing hymns, they're talking about songs that were meaningful to them when they were young adults. And that's one problem I have with the word hymn is hymn and hymnody spans from the Reformation to Swing Low, Sweet Chariot. Those are vastly different. And then we have modern, really rich, deep theological hymns being written today. But, there's all those jokes like, the tweet, this is a joke about a modern worship song. This is a joke about a modern worship song. Key change. This is a joke about a modern worship song. But sometimes you read some of the Psalms even, and they're so repetitive.
Did you almost fall over?
That I'm sitting on a dumbbell. Yeah, this is what I'm sitting on. What do you thought? I'm in the garage.
It's been about an hour. Are you sore?
I'm numb. I don't feel it anymore.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, it's all good. Yeah, worship's not about us. It's not about us. Francis Chan spoke at a pastor's conference in Portland, and he tells people how he handles that anymore because people just want to complain to him because he's not like lead pastor. And his go-to response anymore is, that's great. We weren't worshiping you.
I love it. Oh, yeah. Can I just say I love that we've come full circle. We're talking about sacred cows, but we started the show by talking about eating cows, not talking about fast food and burgers.
We were.
That's how we roll.
That's how we roll. That's right. So
milking it for all it's worth.
I guess we can...
That's utterly ridiculous.
Move on. All
Holy
man.
cow.
Soundboard.
Did you hear about the cow that jumped over the barbed wire fence?
No.
Ugh, utter destruction.
So we wanted to wrap up today's episode, this week's episode, with a segment we're going to call Story Time with Grant.
Story time.
So Grant, are you ready?
You know, I'm going to actually change it up. I know we talked before this was recorded about a story, but I'm going to share a story that I don't think any of you guys know.
Ooh, surprise.
You're going off script, huh?
I'm going off script.
All right.
It involves the college minister at this church. We'll call him G.
Yeah.
What's up, G?
The church.
Yeah.
The church, yes.
Okay. All right, G.
The guy
Okay.
who drives top.
I'm friends with his. Yes. And apparently, often we will drive topless with him, or we.
That's
did.
right. But that gets you in trouble.
Yeah.
So
Don't tweet that.
Not
Just
me,
don't-
'cause I was the unpaid intern.
just don't tweet about it.
Don't tweet about it. So I'm friends with G's son-in-law, his now son-in-law, and we were hanging out with me and three of my buddies, and we thought, it would be really fun to kind of mess with Greg tonight. Gee,
Oh,
Greg.
G.
Oh,
Greg.
it's all right. No one's made it an hour into this. It's okay.
No,
That's
no.
right. We're the only one listening.
We're safe. We're good.
So we're like, guys, wouldn't it be cool to order pizza to his house and, and watch it get delivered? Like to stake out the pizza delivery to his house. We're like, yeah, brilliant. So we order 5 pizzas to his house, and we're all sitting and I kid you not, we just wanted the full policeman experience. We bought donuts and coffee. And there's 4 of us reclined all the way back in our buddy's Honda, binoculars, the whole 9 yards. And we see him come to the door, and back then I guess people were more eager to open their door. No ring back then, 2010. And we always see his hands like waving, no, I don't know what you're talking about. No. We get a call from the pizza place because we placed the order on a cell phone. And the pizza guy, we're like, yeah, no, we're here. We're definitely in the house. Knock again. So the guy who just like refused by Greg goes back, knocks again, and eventually leaves with these pizzas, right? They call us back one more time. We don't answer it. So we leave. And they're like, man, how funny would it be to like knock on the door playing Ding Dong Ditch and like leave pizza? Like, oh, that'd be epic. Same night, half hour later, we go to Walmart. We buy a bunch of pizza. One of the guys who was with us was over 21. So we bought we bought a thing of beer and a thing of root beer, and we left him at the door because I know he didn't drink. Like, what's he going to do? We left this on the door, knock, and split. I mean, we're tripping over bushes. I think I was running in flip-flops. And part of it was, this is my contribution to this trip. We wanted to leave a note. And so something like, hey, we see you. You look hungry. Please enjoy this pizza. And we thought it'd be funny to do it left-handed so he wouldn't recognize my handwriting. If I wrote left-handed, it looked like a ransom note. It looked terrible. So we ding dong ditch, run. Our buddy's car's waiting around the corner. And they're like, guys, that was just so much more exciting to watch him turn away pizza. Let's do it again. So we called the third place.
Oh my gosh.
And we don't know. We're having a ball, but this family is like freaking out. So apparently when the last pizza came, we couldn't see this because we were down the block even further because he was like looking around, whatever. Apparently he came to the door with a baseball bat, fully dressed at just like who's at the door. I can't even remember what happened with them accepting it or rejecting it. But a year later, his son-in-law was one of the guys getting pizza to his house.
So I was going to ask you, does he know this? Is he going to learn who it was by listening? Okay.
Oh no, he knows. He knows.
And you were the pastor's intern during that time.
Yes. Still.
Okay.
I mean, those are the things
What are
you
they
do as a
going to do? Doctor
pastor's
pay?
intern.
That's right, man.
Yeah.
That's a lot of fun. Well, thanks for sharing. We
That
appreciate
was
it.
money
Yeah.
well spent.
That was a good one.
It definitely was.
Money we didn't really have, but worth it.
No, I meant like
'Cause
for
you
the
weren't getting
intern.
paid.
Yeah, for me.
All right. Well, that was fun. Thanks, Grant. And hey, thank all you listeners for sticking with us if you made it. We tried to do this a little shorter this time, but we failed. So maybe it's just by divine providence that this is supposed to be an hour and 5 minutes long. That's what I'm going to go with. So thanks for joining us. Again, make sure you like and comment and subscribe for us, and share it. If you're enjoying it, if you're having a good time, share it out there. Let's get more listeners. And if you know anybody that would want to sponsor this thing, that'd be pretty cool. And give us free food to eat while we're on the podcast.
Right.
Not Diet Pepsi.
Yeah, we don't need
all right.
sponsorship. We're good.
No, we're good. All right, guys. It was fun. Thanks for joining us, and we will talk to you next week. I'm just going to let it record to you.